If you've been gaining weight, feeling exhausted, foggy, or moody, even when you're doing everything right, it could be your thyroid. Most women don't realize how important the thyroid is until it starts whispering through symptoms that we often ignore. Welcome to video 10 in my 30-day series of unburdening your life so that you could feel amazing and great all the time. Mind body wellness, that's the key. My name is Almira Hinton. I am the RN health coach and creator of the podcast Nurse's Notes by Almira. You can find me on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and also Apple, where you can listen to this and more subjects about mind body health and living your best life. Now, let's get into this episode about the thyroid, okay? So this is day or video 10 of my 30-day video series of unburdening yourself. Today, we're going to be talking about a small gland with massive impact, your thyroid, the control center of your metabolism, energy, and hormone balance. And we always hear, oh, I think my thyroid's low. I'm not functioning well. I've got hair loss. I got this going on. I don't feel good. I'm really tired and sluggish. So I think most people have heard about the thyroid gland and its functioning. And so we're going to talk about that just a little bit today to round out this series because it's really important that you understand the physical as well as the mental that keeps you going and keeps you feeling great, having joy and the fun that you desire in your life. Okay. When your thyroid is not functioning properly, even slightly, your body will slow down to conserve energy, and that can stall weight loss. It can mess with your moods and make everything just feel more challenging, just more of a struggle to get things done. What let's talk about a little bit more about what the thyroid does. The thyroid produces a hormones, two of them, and they just got numbers and letters by them. Two hormones that the thyroid produces, T3 and T4, okay? That regulate every cell in your body and how it uses energy. So it's really important. If your thyroid is balanced, you burn fuel efficiently. So the foods that you eat, the things that you take in, you burn them efficiently if your thyroid hormone is well balanced. But if it's sluggish, your whole system slows down because it has an effect on every cell in your body. And how every cell in your body utilizes energy is affected by this hormone, the T3 and T4, that is produced by the thyroid gland. Okay, few quick symptoms about low thyroid or hypothyroidism. They include things like weight gain, especially around the middle, fatigue, so just feeling tired, even after a good night's sleep. If you've taken care of yourself and you've gotten the rest that you need and you still feel fatigued despite that, and don't forget, being hydrated can also help you feel good and have energy. And you can also feel fatigued if you're not well hydrated, okay? But fatigue can also come from a low functioning thyroid. No matter how much you sleep, you still feel very tired. You might have cold hands and feet. A lot of people go, oh my goodness, that happens to me all the time. You might, these are just some symptoms that are possibility connected to low thyroid. Cold hands and feet, maybe even some thinning hair. I think that really gets the attention, particularly of women when they notice their hair thinning and then they start connecting the dots. Or really dry skin. That's also connected to a low thyroid. In addition to that, just not thinking clearly, maybe some brain fog or a low mood can also be a possibility of a low functioning thyroid, okay? Why we miss it so much? Thyroid issues tend to go undiagnosed or poo-pooed away, especially in women over 40, because symptoms are dismissed as stress, okay, or part of aging, okay? Those symptoms can be dismissed. because people think, oh, you're just stressed, you're working too hard, or you're doing this, or because you're maturing, that you've lived a certain number of years, over 40, and people just feel, oh, you're just aging and your body's just not working correctly. But that could be a possibility of a low functioning thyroid. And even when doctors check it, they often only look at TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay. Your doctor may only look at TSH and not the full picture. Okay. I'm going to give you a few things to discuss with your healthcare professional, and so that you have some knowledge about what's going on here. A full picture of the thyroid gland and how it's functioning can be discerned from not only just TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone, but also from the serum levels of free T3, okay, and free T4. What do those levels look like? Okay, they're both thyroid hormone, but what do those levels look like? And then there's also something they can look at called reverse T3, okay, because typically T3 gets converted into T4, and what's the leftovers are called reverse T3. So if you have a lot of leftovers from that conversion that's floating around, they don't exactly do a lot of good. Your body's supposed to get rid of that. But if you've got a buildup, if you have higher levels of reverse T3, there's a possibility that could cause a slowdown or not a well functioning thyroid. So that'll give you the whole picture. And then the final serum level that they would want to really evaluate to get the full picture of how the thyroid is functioning is thyroid antibodies. Okay. So, what can happen sometimes is that your body can produce antibodies that actually attack the thyroid. Okay. So, it's an internal misfunctioning thing. Your body can actually produce or start attacking the thyroid gland itself. And so Hashimoto's or Graves' disease needs to be ruled out. So they'll want to look at the thyroid antibodies. So not just TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone, but they'll want to evaluate your free T3, your free T4, your reverse T3. Remember, that's the leftovers of the conversion, and your thyroid antibodies to get a full picture of how your thyroid is functioning. Okay. So that's that for a minute. And just remember, if this information supports you, if you think, oh, this is pretty good, you think it might support someone else, be sure and share it and tell them about it. Whether you're seeing me on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, or if you're listening to me on my podcast, be sure and share it, because the more information, more of this that I can get out to people, the better. And what I love are your questions and comments. If you feel like this supported you, or if you feel like there's some additional information you'd like to have, you could always go over to my website, www.thernhealthcoach.com, and book a time, just 15 minutes, so we can sit down and talk and see if we could be a good fit for each other, that maybe I could support you with some mind body wellness. Okay. Don't be afraid. Hypnosis is not anything to be afraid of. Okay. And educating yourself about your body, those two things together can make you very powerful, very knowledgeable, and very healthy. Okay. So you are your best advocate. If your labs are normal, but you don't feel normal, don't settle for that. Ask for deeper questions, ask for deeper testing, ask for more testing, so you can get to the bottom and see if this is physical and or mental. Maybe you need to practice some meditation so you can get some things out so that you can feel better. Okay. So you can work on them both hand in hand. All right. If your labs are borderline, okay, ask your doctor, if I'm not feeling good, is borderline where I really want to be sitting? Okay. Because different labs can have different cutoff points. And if you're at that point where you're just making it, or maybe you're just a smidge under, is that really where you want to be sitting? Have that conversation with your physician. And maybe you guys can do some things together to see if you can get that either up into the normal range, or some type of intervention to see if you can feel better. Now, some key things that you can do to support your thyroid gland naturally. You knew I was going to come to this. There's some things that you can do to support your thyroid naturally, and that's eating selenium and iodine rich foods. that comes from eggs, seaweed, and Brazil nuts, okay? A lot of people love nuts, so that's usually not difficult, as well as eggs. Seaweed can be a little challenging. I have to confess, I've had some seaweed. I've gone to Costco and gotten those packages. I think they're almost like potato chips as laid out flat. That was a bit challenging for me to, not bad, but just a bit challenging for me to eat. But you can also get selenium and iodine from eggs as well as nuts, particularly Brazil nuts can be rich in not only things, it takes about an ounce or so of those nuts to get you your daily requirement for that, okay? Overtraining. If you're someone that goes at it really hard with your workouts and you're not taking the required amount of rest in between workouts and eating properly, it can also stress the thyroid and cause it to underperform, okay? Support gut health, really important. 20% of T4 is converted to T3 in the gut. So it's so important for you to have good gut health. That's where that fiber really comes in, and eating a variety of foods, and particularly getting rid of things that don't support you nutritionally, sodas and things like that, because that can alter your gut bacteria. So you want to eat a lot of healthy, gut friendly foods, and talk to your healthcare provider about what a pre or probiotic could look like for you. Okay. Prioritize sleep and reduce stress because that can have an effect on your thyroid and how well it's functioning. As you can see, taking care of yourself, do you hear that general theme about sleep and hydration and eating nutritional foods just helps the body function at its optimal level, okay? Avoid ultra processed foods and inflammation triggering foods. And that bring that up again. That's those foods with a lot of additives, particularly when they come in bags like chips and pretzels and donuts and all those kinds of things. They're ultra processed. Oh, Cheetos, Doritos, all those kinds of things. They're ultra processed. Just very low, no nutritional value in those whatsoever. So look at intaking of your fruits, your oranges, your apples, your grapes, watermelon, all those delicious fruits, mangoes. I've been on a mango kick lately. They're so good. I have to bring them home and let them set for a few days to really ripen, but they're so good and so good for you. So look at increasing in your diet some of those natural things, those greens, those leafy green vegetables. Look at your salads and things like that. Not necessarily corn, but more of those starchy, leafy green vegetables, broccoli and cauliflower and all those different spinaches and bok choy, all those good leafy green foods, and well as your vegetables and your fruits that can help you steer away from the ultra processed food. They just don't have any nutritional value whatsoever. A lot of times they'll satisfy a crunch. Celery can do that as well as some small carrots can also. So look at exchanging some of that stuff out and see about decreasing the amount of processed foods that you take in. Maybe that in and of itself can help get your thyroid to functioning at its optimal level. But you got to look at the nutrition first. Just don't go for the medication. That can be a good supplement, but you got to take care of yourself by eating those foods that give the nutrition that the body needs, okay? Practice meditation so that you can reduce your stress and lower your cortisol levels. If you looked at previous days, I've talked immensely about cortisol and stress, okay? Cortisol is a stress hormone that is particularly released excessively and can reduce weight loss, and it encourages fat storage and can suppress thyroid function. Okay. So think about that. Again, if this information has been supporting you and help you, please share it and subscribe if you're seeing me on YouTube. That helps me out so very much that I know that this information is wanted and you're utilizing it. And I would love to hear from you. Comment. Did you like it? Didn't you like it? Would you like to hear something else? I'd love that. And also, again, if you think I could use a coach like that can help me get healthy. And again, it's not always about losing weight. It's about getting healthy mentally and physically so you can enjoy your life to the fullest. Okay. Now, our reflection prompt for today is this. What symptoms have I been normalizing that might actually be a sign that my thyroid supports? Are you accepting fatigue and brain fog in your life just because you're aging or that you're stressed, okay? Think about that, okay? Drop your comments and your thoughts in the comments section if you haven't already yet. And be sure and download the companion guide either here or in the show notes, or go to my website also to get the companion guide that goes along with this 30-day series, okay? And explore today's insights. Just take the time, write that down. These insights can really help you be mindful and thoughtful about really what's going on with your body, okay? So now stay tuned for video number 11. This was 10. Well, we'll talk about growth hormone, your secret weapon for fat loss. We're going to talk about growth hormone, recovery, and anti-aging. All right. Just remember, you're not lazy. You're not broken. Sometimes your body just needs the right support, and your thyroid's a great place to start. All right. Particularly with your diet, okay? My name is Almira Hinton. I am the RN health coach and creator of the podcast Nurse's Notes by Almira. I hope you'll listen and stay tuned, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye-bye.